Information Committee. Our theme today is the integration of AI into business and academic information sources. And I want to thank the entire BIS committee for their help in making this happen, with special thanks to Kelly Janicek, Carmen Orthalfi, Tim Tully, Judy Opdal, and Peter McKay. Peter McKay will be our MC today, and Judy Opdal, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing anyone's names, will be moderating and facilitating the Q&A after our speaker session. So please save your questions and comments for that. And I want to thank all of our speakers in particular for taking the time to be here today and for speaking with us. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Peter McKay to introduce our first speaker.
Okay, so this is going to be a little like speed dating because I don't have time to say much about all of our great speakers. I just want to mention to begin with, when we first started talking about approaching publishers about what they were going to do with generative AI, we really didn't know if anybody would be interested in cooperating with us or if they wanted to kind of keep it secret or close to the vest while they developed whatever they were. And happily, we have some great panelists from great publishers who are eager to participate. Probably want to hear from librarians as much as we want to hear from you. So all that said, I'm just going to briefly introduce our panelists. Beth LaPense, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. She's the Senior Product Manager at Ithaca, which owns JSTOR, of course. She spearheaded development of an AI research tool, going from proof of concept to beta in just 6 weeks. So they actually have a beta version up right now. You know, you can contact Beth if you'd like to participate in the beta. She's bringing along Alex Houston, who is the Senior Marketing Manager at Ithaca, and she oversees strategy for ArtStore, JSTOR Forum, and generative AI. They'll be followed by Cristina Bianca Sancho. She leads the platform team, which oversees the development of the Clarivate academic and government platforms, including interface features, accessibility, authentication, search, linking, usage, and more recently, the application of Gen AI to academic products. So she has a very good view over the many products that Clarivate offers. Jason Thompson from Mintel. He leads the Mintel Technology Group and has done so for over 25 years. He's now focusing on blending Mintel's expertise, content, and data with the capabilities of generative AI. And finally, Regina Ambrosina, she's the Solutions Account Manager for Research Intelligence at Elsevier. She supports colleges and universities and identifies ways they can enhance and optimize their research with Elsevier resources and help address challenges throughout the research cycle. So we want to begin as soon as possible, as soon as I stop talking. So Beth is our leadoff hitter. Go ahead, Beth.
All right, we're actually going to have Alex kick us off, and then I'll take over. Yeah.
All right, let me get pulled up here. All right. Excuse me, sorry. Let's see, there we go. All right. Oops. Oh, I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. Sorry about that. All right. All right, is everyone able to see my screen?
I can.
Yes.
Right, I'm gonna go into full screen here. Is that working for you?
Yeah, it's not showing in presenter mode yet, though.
Oh, thank you. How's that? Working?
It's still showing it in the edit mode.
Okay, sorry about that. I think I'm gonna have to run with that. I hope that's okay. Are you able to see it anyway?
Totally visible, yeah.
Okay, great. And sorry about that. We oddly don't use Zoom at Ithaca. So anyway, thank you so much for having us here today. I'm here to share a bit about Ithaca's collaborative approach to generative AI. As Peter kindly introduced, my name is Alex Houston. I'm a senior marketing manager at Ithaca. And we are a nonprofit provider of services that include JSTOR, ArtStore, Ithaca SNR, and more. My colleague Beth and I will introduce you to Ithaca's collaborative, community-driven work to explore the possibilities of generative AI in education, including our beta release of a generative AI tool on JSTOR. I will start by walking you through why we are doing what we are doing, why we're doing this work, what's motivating us, and how we are approaching it. And then I'll hand off to Beth to show the really interesting part, which is what that looks like. So just to jump in, Ithaca's motivation is really coming from three things, and for working in generative AI, and those are community, mission, and experience. So in terms of community, early on, as ChatGPT was just catching on, our participants became very curious about what was going on, and they started asking our outreach, our sales team, how are we thinking about it? What are we going to do about generative AI? A lot of new questions were coming up, new concerns, unknowns, but we were also seeing opportunities. We understand, of course, that people like you are looking for guidance on generative AI and its effects on scholarship. And we also understand that we don't have all the answers at Ithaca, and we don't want to pretend otherwise. So our work in generative AI is really an acknowledgement of that. It's an acknowledgement of unknowns and an invitation to our community to find solutions together with us. We also see, a lot of tools out there really focused on the sciences. JSTOR, as you may know, is really focused on the arts, humanities, social sciences. So we see a great opportunity there to empower our sort of core folks in our audience. Also, Ithaca is a mission-based organization, and we see opportunities to expand our core mission to expand access to knowledge. So what does that mean? There's more to accessing knowledge than, of course, retrieving information. And we see a possibility in generative AI to really help students, researchers, et cetera, to really absorb and use knowledge effectively. We also have a considerable amount of experience in applying new technologies in service of scholarship. So this began as far back as 1995 with JSTOR's launch and our early use of the internet to bring digitized journal articles to scholars around the world. And we want to continue always to see how new things that are coming onto the scene might be used in similar ways. And then finally, we are experimenting anyway, sort of behind the scenes, and had been for a while with large language models and similar technologies to enhance our search capabilities. And we were starting to really see an opportunity to bring all that into our users' hands. So again, how are we doing this sort of collaboratively with our community? This takes sort of two sides. One is research. So as I mentioned, Ithaca has a number of different services. One of those is Ithaca SNR, which is our strategic advisory and research service. SNR for the past year and ongoing is undertaking a project called Making AI Generative for Higher Education. That's a project with 20 colleges and universities, and they aim together to assess and explore applications of generative AI and create and share those strategies. Additionally, all of our work in JSTOR is certainly driven by research, user research. So as we started getting this idea to release something on the JSTOR platform, our first step was to interview our stakeholders. So that would be our students, our faculty, our librarians, of course, and our publishers. And then in terms of how this is really playing out on the platform, I can share that back in August of 2023, we first started inviting users to volunteer to beta test a generative AI-powered feature on JSTOR. This is being released and remains a limited beta, meaning the tool will be only available to a limited group of volunteer users. Then that really allows us to continue to develop this in accordance with feedback and research. Again, we don't want to deliver something clearly defined. We really want to build something in response to real student, researcher, faculty, librarian, and publisher needs. And during this beta period, we are also working with engaged users to explore more capabilities and really trying at as many points as possible to demonstrate that sort of transparency and collaborative ethos. And before handing things over to Beth, I did just want to share some of the principles that are sort of guiding our work. These are at the core of what we do. This is how our teams relate our ongoing development of generative AI tools on JSTOR to the Ithaca mission. And again, this ties back to what I've covered so far in terms of that user-centered approach, making sure that we are taking into account real situations and responding accordingly, and also making sure that we can remain the trusted and reliable source that our users really depend on. And with that, I will stop sharing and hand things over to Beth.
All right, good job, Alex. Let's get my screen sharing. And Peter, please keep me honest in terms of time. Give me a little
Okay,
warning and
I'll
I'll
give you a
wrap it.
warning.
All right, so as we've already heard, we did a very intensive build over the summer, got ready to start inviting users into our beta at the start of the fall semester. And so since that time, we've been building out, looking at the feedback, analyzing the data, and really using that to continue to evolve the product. And I will say upfront, we have concentrated our effort on the content, engaging with the content itself. And next stage will be working in our search and content discovery. So as we go through here, it might seem like a bit of a gap that we don't have a bunch of functionality in search yet, but that's all currently in development. So next time we talk, I'll be able to demonstrate that. So let me just jump in. I'm going to run a search. You're seeing a natural language search here, our experimental search results, which currently is very fully supported by a semantic search or RAG or vector search capability. And so this is our very starting engagement in the search space. And so what you're seeing here is results, the top 25 results that are a conceptual match for that search that was executed. And with that, we're going to leave search behind, pick just the first one because it actually is a very nice, nice match. Even though these keywords from my search are not strongly represented, the concept is there. So you can see, if you're familiar with JSTOR, you've got this chat box on the side. That's new. And what you saw as soon as I landed on the page, there was automatically a response being generated. And so what happens when you're a user, you've done a search, you land on the page, the very first thing that you need to do is assess, engage with the content and make a determination on whether or not this item is actually a good match for your research need. So what's happening here is that we automatically execute a query, a prompt that takes your search term and says, how is this item related to my search term, and generates a response to to show the user just that. So instead of scanning through the entire document, they're able to, in a few short paragraphs here, get a sense of the tight match between the content, the meaning in the document, and that search term. This is actually a really great addition to the semantic search type capability, because it becomes more challenging to assess the fit when you can't spot the words, right? If you're not doing a keyword match, it's a little less clear why you got that result. So having this right up front and center gives the user that confidence that they found something that is valuable or that is not, and they want to back out. So let's keep looking through this. So what you see in this response here, you can see some numbers along the side. So what are these? These are describing to the user, giving a clear connection from the response that the tool generated to the part of the document that that was used to create that response. So in this case, you can see in the little black box, this is a snippet of the text. You can click on it, and in this particular case, it took it from the introduction. So each time there is a segment of text used, you'll see that referenced in the response. From here, like you've already gotten your custom summary, you can also request a short, brief description that describes what the entire document is about. This is neutral to your search term. So basically extracting from the document the key points and creating a paragraph to describe that. And that's a quick, just a quick sense of what the document is about. In JSTOR, this is particularly helpful because unlike this document, not every item has, and most items don't have abstracts. So there isn't that quick snippet to see like, oh, here's what this is about. So that is plays a very big role for our users. And I will carry on. You can see there's a handful of preset prompts down here. Recommend topics. This is a feature that works through, understands the topics that are covered in the document.
1 minute warning.
Okay, and presents those as as keywords that you can use for further research. I'm going to skip over these a little bit. I'll do it really quick. Show me related content. This is content recommenders. So it is finding conceptual matches throughout the rest of the JSTOR corpus. And then ask a question. This is where you're able to essentially chat with the document and ask the document questions about itself. And this is where we're very much constraining at this point the responses to content that is held within the document. So let me just execute a few questions so you can see what I mean. So this document is about shopping behaviors in times of recession.
Yeah, I'm afraid we're out of time.
Okay.
We need to try to keep it as close as possible so there's time for people to ask questions.
Yeah, that's fair. We can get more into questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christina, you're up next.
Yeah, let me just share my screen. And I hope you can see that. Yep, you can see that?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I sharing the screen, the right screen?
I think so.
Okay, okay. It's the presentation mode. Excellent. Good. So let me just, for the sake of time, let me move on to the next slide, in which I wanted to discuss that. Well, as you all well know, the initial reaction of higher education institutions to the introduction of generative AI was almost automatic disapproval, because there were many potential negative impacts to think about. But this has changed, and it has changed very fast and in different ways. Students are ahead of the curve. They are comfortable with the adoption of Gen AI, and they're already using it, basically. Researchers are increasingly using Gen AI too, but they do have more concerns regarding originality and authenticity, bias. Another aspect is that generative AI is also getting more widely adopted in academia, but there's still much confusion about the right way to use it. So institutions are actively working on developing guiding principles for their students. And finally, many institutions are now shifting their approach and looking to benefit from the opportunities of Gen AI, trying to explore what those new opportunities might be while still protecting the end users from bias, plagiarism, IP abuse, etc. And although, okay, that was very soon, sorry about that. And although many institutions are still hesitant, many more are evaluating the integration of AI into the teaching, learning, and research processes. I just wanted to look at some initial discussion points. What is clear is that generative AI is here and it's here to stay. The users love the convenience, ease, and speed at which they can get topic information, definitions, insights. And they are very used to the technology because more and more consumer sites are using it. The possibilities are endless, and as many experts say, the only limit is your imagination. AI is not new. It's been around for a long time. But with Gen AI, we have new opportunities to generate new insights very fast and at scale. Other areas that we need to consider are that academic content is not free, and you all know better than anybody else that tools that make use of large language models are very costly. We've seen prices going down, but still are very expensive. That not all the tools that are out there are suitable for academia and education, and that transparency is key to create trust among both our end users and our publishing partners. But we cannot ignore the fact that there are many areas of concern too, because this technology is very new and there are still many things we don't understand. What are the students learning if Gen AI is doing the work for them? What's the long-term impact on student learning skills? What about the fake facts, the hallucinations? And then there is the risk of bias in AI-generated content and questions about the research and pedagogical integrity of Gen AI tools. Finally, there are a lot of people that are concerned about losing their job to AI, but if anything, right now Gen AI is creating more work than anything else, and it's likely to continue like that for the foreseeable future. At the end of the day, there has to be a person that stands at the beginning and at the end of the process. Longer term, yes, you might expect that most of us will have to be able to use AI-based tools, so it makes sense to start building up that knowledge now, which might determine also what types of jobs we are able to do in the future. But the key thing here to remember is that human expertise is and will continue to be essential in building and using AI tools, and that's not likely to change. Moving on to the next slide. This is why we are building different tools using the technology, and we are committed to use Gen AI responsibly. As such, we are fully committed to keeping research and learning integrity at the heart of everything that we do. We think it's about providing trusted solutions in a transparent way and doing so responsibly together with the academic community. So unlike general GenAI tools like ChatGPT, we provide users with trusted content that is based on curated academic resources. We make sure that customers can benefit from the content that they subscribe to already. We ensure proper attribution and citation of works so that users can explore and access the full text. And we are transparent and show the publications that were used to generate the insights and the results. We have to collaborate with publishers, and we have clear definitions of user permissions, and we will never ever use any licensed content to train LLMs. In fact, we don't train LLMs. Last but not least, we comply with global regulations as they emerge, which you can imagine can be challenging as legislation on Gen AI is still in development in many countries. But one thing that is very clear to us is that the community is at the heart of our Gen AI approach. We believe that only by working with the community hand in hand can we apply Gen AI responsibly in our products and provide value to students and researchers. At the product level, we are working with beta partners to test, evaluate, and provide feedback on the tools that we've been launching. And at the Clarivate level, we are working on forming a dedicated academic customer advisory council, which we plan to launch in early 2024. So if any of you are interested in participating, I would really love to hear from you. But let's talk at the specific of what Clarivate is doing regarding the use of Gen AI. And we are looking at it from 3 different perspectives. The first one is that we are adding Gen AI to existing solutions, which means doing similar things to what we did in the past, but doing them better and faster. We're also transforming with Gen AI via the creation of new services and applications that we couldn't do before. It's about imagining and implementing new solutions to existing challenges. And we also want to increase efficiencies, and this applies both to customer efficiencies and productivity, as well as improving our own backend processing. A good example of that is using Gen AI to enrich metadata, for example, consistently and at scale. And in order to do all of this and to support multiple use cases at scale, we are developing an academic AI platform. It's designed to help us bring existing and new use cases to the market faster, and it will allow us to deliver more capabilities and solutions, such as conversational discovery or article summarization, to more products with a consistent user experience and at a scale. So I've mentioned adding Gen AI to existing solutions. So let's look at examples of what Clarivate has done so far. So we have 2 beta products at the moment being tested by customers, the ProQuest Research Assistant and the Web of Science Research Assistant. And let me show you what they look like. This is the landing page of the ProQuest Research Assistant. And as you can see, it's not that different from other Gen AI. So it's changed again. It's not that different from other Gen AI tools that users are familiar with. So you have the examples in the middle so that the users can see what type of questions they can ask. And then a simple search box at the bottom where they enter the prompt or the query. After that, they can move on to a results page, which has a prompt at the top, generated Gen AI generated answer, which is followed by a list of all the sources that contributed to that answer. So you can see exactly which books, which dissertations, which articles were used in order to craft that Gen AI answer, and you can link to them to see the full text. There are disclaimers about the use of the tool and links to our privacy policy as well. The Web of Science Research Assistant is very similar, as you can see. It's got the samples in the middle, the box for your question at the bottom, and this response is similar. You have a generated AI response followed by documents that were used to craft that response. So we have a research assistant for literature, for ProQuest One literature, and we have a research assistant for Web of Science. But what would a research assistant for business look like? And that is something that we have been thinking about. We are still at the early stages, but to start with, it could be used as a personalized helper to develop basic skills like problem formulation, helping students to refine their problem statements. Gen AI tools can also assist students in creating draft marketing strategies, business proposals, financial analysis, and then they can use their critical thinking to evaluate the results, to correct them, and augment the output with their own research. It's very easy to ask Gen AI tools to create a SWOT analysis or apply the Porter's 5 sources framework to a product or to an industry. But students will still need to learn to verify the facts, and for that they still need very credible resources. They might want to use visual content generation tools, which generate images for the logos, for infographics, or social media graphics that they can use to enhance their business projects, maybe. And one key thing is that business students can also use Gen AI as a personal tutor who can explain concepts and provide answers to basic questions during the learning process. What about the content? What use cases do we want to support? ProQuest One Business has scholarly journals. It has news, wire feeds, newspapers, country and industry reports. It has dissertations, it has videos, it has case studies and more that I probably haven't mentioned. Should we use all those content types to build a business research assistant? Should we only include recent content? Or do we want to support use cases where students will need historical data too? These are some of the aspects and questions that we are asking ourselves and that we need to consult with people like you who are there in front of the users. And finally, a business research assistant should enable new possibilities for users. For example, interdisciplinary.
What, 1 minute? The 1
1
minute.
minute? Okay, yeah, just to say that interdisciplinary is something big in business. Many students struggle with learning about the other discipline, and with Gen AI, they can very quickly get up to speed and explain key concepts, get new areas of discovery. And finally, just to say very quickly that we have Web of Science launch, ProQuest One is launched, and we are currently working on a research assistant for discovery and for eBook Central. So that's it for me. If you have any questions, happy to answer them at the end.
Thank you, Christina. Jason, you're next. Mintel.
Great, yeah, sure. Thank you. Just okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Well, no. Sorry.
Is it showing now or?
I don't know how to stop sharing myself, otherwise.
Yeah, I think you have to
Okay.
stop share, Christina.
Okay. If you go back to Zoom and then click stop share.
It says resume share, but I've got.
I think you paused it.
Okay. Let me.
Be a toolbar with a stop share. Floating toolbar.
Okay, no, it's not. Stop share now. Yeah, sorry.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today. I'm going to talk about Mintel Leap, which is our generative AI tool. And just get my but before we get started, if anyone wants to get a copy of this, if you take a screenshot of this and then scan the QR code, and you can register and get a copy of the presentation afterwards. I'll show this again at the end if I have time. So before going any further, I think Mintel may not be as familiar as some of the other providers, so it's probably helpful to quickly introduce you to Mintel. We're experts in what consumers want and why, and we provide market intelligence covering a broad range of consumer markets globally. What we do actually boils down to collecting lots of data, processing and analyzing it. We use AI for that often, making it available to our clients and our internal researchers. And our internal researchers make sense of it, creating insight and recommendations, which we publish for our clients to read. Then our experts also work with our clients to help them make sense of it all. In practice, among other things, we publish thousands of reports and other high-value analysis and insight pieces every year. That's what powers Mintel Leap, our insight. I have a role in innovation in the Mintel Futures team, and what we're looking at is combining what's unique to Mintel with the opportunities afforded by these new technologies. Mintel Leap is the first idea we've incubated to launch, and the first application we've developed that uses generative AI. We've got more coming. I just thought it might be helpful just to recap a bit. Historically, computers have been really good at math. You can use them to do calculations, to process and analyze and generate huge amounts of data. Over the past 10 to 20 years, advanced analytics and traditional AI have enhanced these capabilities and allowed us to derive even more insight from data and to predict from patterns in the data. And as you all know, what we're talking about today, more recently, with the advent of generative AI, and a definition of generative AI might be helpful here. It's a type of AI that can be used to generate novel content from some input or context. In practice at Mintel, we're most focused on large language models, generative AI like ChatGPT, that typically is text in and text out. And you've all seen this in action today. But a good way to think about this is that if computers have historically been really good at math, then large language models make computers really good at reading and writing with nuanced understanding, and you can use them to understand content at scale and to interpret and summarize it for you. And that's what we're doing with Mintel Leap. Okay. So first of all, let's be clear, Gen AI doesn't replace search, or at least not yet. Google is still masterful. I still start 90% of my searches with Google. It's so good and it's so quick, and you can tell what you're getting. But sometimes you have to wade through huge numbers of search results to find the nugget you're looking for. And it's a lot of effort to combine information from multiple sources. More and more these days, I find myself asking ChatGPT just to give me a perspective on something, because it can synthesize answers from its internalized knowledge, all the data it's been trained on, which, as you know, is pretty much everything from the internet. And it can do it with a surprising degree of accuracy, as the New York Times and other publishers have recently pointed out to OpenAI. ChatGPT can do research on the internet, but it's not very good at it. There are other tools that are much better, things like Perplexity AI, but even then, their results can be variable. They never look at very much content, and sometimes it's old and out of date. More than this, information sources on the internet, of course, have varying degrees of provenance, authority, and accuracy. So, well, we have an authoritative, high quality, reliable source of information if you're interested in consumers, consumer markets, trends, and innovation. And I'll pause here just to let you take in the slide for a second, but you don't really have to read it all. Suffice to say, we produce a huge amount of content and data and to sift through. Every year we publish thousands of comprehensive reports along with tens of thousands of other related articles and insight pieces. And it is a challenge to find the content you need to provide the answers you want. Enter Mintel Leap, and this is our first generative AI application. And we launched this in December. We soft launched it in December, and then we did our main launch last month, and this is now live in the marketplace. Before we get to the demonstration, which is probably going to be the best way of showcasing how Gen AI can help with the research and discovery process, it might be helpful just to put it into context. Fundamentally, we believe the strongest application of AI is in empowering human expertise. We strongly believe that AI will not replace human skill and knowledge, but it will augment human capabilities, and it will inevitably transform many job functions in knowledge worker roles. We're trying to embrace this and provide the best tools to our clients to supercharge their productivity. We're not yet in a position to make this available to all of our academic clients because there is a big cost involved, but we fully intend to find a way to do that as soon as possible. We want to encourage students to embrace new technology and to have access to the same tools and high quality information in the educational setting as they'll have available when they move to industry, or in some cases move back into industry. And for everyone using these tools, like any tool, there's a learning curve and a skill required to use it. The interesting thing I think about generative AI is that the key skill is being able to clearly communicate your meaning in plain language. And actually, if you think about it, this could be fantastic for all of us, continuous practice at communicating clearly. Something that doesn't change with the AI is the need to ground your research with high quality sources. Currently, this means going to the right source for the right purpose. But in the near future at Mintel, we're predicting that information sources will be directly plugged into new AI-powered knowledge worker platforms, perhaps like ChatGPT, but maybe provided by companies like Microsoft and Google via their productivity tools. We shouldn't forget that one of the real opportunities for generative AI is actually to facilitate inspiration. They're really actually good at creativity and generating ideas. And I'll show you some of that in our demonstration, but expect that kind of capability to become more powerful and ubiquitous. And some of the previous speakers have talked about that idea as well. And I think that's an opportunity for exploiting. Finally, and this is important, AI doesn't remove the need to think. Any system for research should always give you the opportunity to access the reference sources for any insight and to dig deeper, just like conventional academic research. So let me just jump straight into the demo. Let's go on a brief research journey and we'll see where our curiosity takes us. Imagine a business school professor asks their students to do a case study on the effect of the environmental lobby on the bottled water industry in the US. Now, you wouldn't use Mintel for all of this, but you might well use us to get a view of the market and of what consumers want and why. So first of all, let's try a simple, specific question to get a feel for the topic. How popular is bottled water in the US? At the moment, this is our traditional search. And so what you can see is it's brought back 261,000 results. And some of these are likely to be kind of interesting, kind of relevant. But if we were really to get to what we want, we're going to need to go back and do lots of filtering and lots more searching and maybe run 3 or 4 searches to get what we want. So let's empower ourselves using AI. So now we take this question, and this is a bit more interesting. In this case, it's extracted a number of data points and insights from the US Still and Sparkling Water report. Let's just check some of the references. You can see all of these references are actually from the same report. These are the references, but let's just check one. Okay. And if we look at the question here, look at the answer here. Bottled water is considered a staple in many US households with an 84% reported consumption rate. And you can see here it's taken this insight from the overview of this report, and it's extracted it somewhat verbatim, and we find that's what it does mostly, and actually that can be very useful, so you know that it's not misinterpreting it. You can also dig deeper, and then you can see the table that this was where that information came from, and you can see the source of the information as well. Okay. Let's go back to the answer. This is quite interesting. It looks like bottled water is popular, and it's getting more popular. The category is expected to grow. So that that isn't necessarily what I expected, given a lot of the news that's surrounding sustainability issues and plastic water bottles and things like that. So let's go a bit deeper. Here we have suggested questions, and these are not questions directly related to the question we asked. These are questions that are related to the information that was retrieved that can also be answered using this content we found. So let's try this question. So what is driving growth accelerators for bottled water consumption? It's okay. This is given quite a succinct summary. The other thing is it gives you different answers every time, and you can, with Mintel Leap, say, actually, I don't like that answer. So I'll go back and I'll turn it on again. And this has given me a slightly longer answer, but it's still not quite as good as what I wanted. So we could dig deeper here, but actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a more specific question. Tell me all of the ways environmental concerns are affecting the bottled water industry in the US. So this looks a bit more interesting. This is more directly addressing what the assignment was. So there is a consumer demand for sustainability. And in response to that demand, companies are innovating in packaging. They're also advertising that. And this is interesting. Younger consumers are particularly interested in hydration and convenience, but they also expect food and drink brands to invest in sustainability initiatives. That said, doesn't it impact their consumption significantly, with only 22% of Gen Z and 27% of millennials believing bottled water is bad for the environment? That's interesting. And you can see it's included information from other sources here. And whilst this isn't directly related to the question I asked, it has brought in something related that talks about European regulations, and we often know that companies will look to Europe for regulation sometimes. So this is interesting. It's given me a lot more context. Well, time is limited, so I'm going to leave it there. But I think you get the idea.
Less than a minute now.
Okay, all right, sure. Imagine how long it would have taken to search for that information, read through it, and extract those key points. In each case, what the system has done is gone away and found the most relevant pieces of insight in our database. You can think of it almost like hiring an intern to go away and search your database and read through it, find the relevant information, and then write the summaries. But it can do this much more quicker. Now, obviously, you'd expect a student to spend much more time on an assignment like this, but you can see how AI can accelerate aspects of the research process, giving you more time for the user to do higher level thinking. And I think that might be key to really being more effective using AI, encouraging users to use the time it saves for elevating their arguments. And then I was just going to...
So it's time for Regina. She's the cleanup hitter.
Thank you so much thank you so much for the introduction. Regina Ambrosino, I do have Carlos Estevez and Adrian Radishal from my team joining me. Carlos will bring up the presentation to present Scopus AI, and then Adrian will be participating in the Q&A portion for any questions directed at Scopus AI. Thank you.
Greetings, and I'd like to thank Brass for the invitation for this forum. And now we're going to talk a little bit about Scopus AI. My name is Carlos Estevez, as Regina told, and I work as a specialist consultant in analytics for Elsevier. By training, I'm a biologist and with a master's degree in computational biology, and my doctoral studies are in computer science. For like 5 years ago, I transitioned from Lifetime Academia to become part of this magnificent group of people working at Elsevier. Today, I'd like to share a story that highlights the power of innovative research tools and touches on the balance between professional and personal life in the demanding world of scientific research. Picture this. This is my wife, a picture of her Facebook profile. A dedicated research working in omics at the New Institute here in Colombia. Her expertise lies on modeling biological networks. Her tasks, often challenging and time-sensitive, include providing state-of-the-art insights on cutting-edge topics like biohydrogen generation from sugarcane solid waste or reducing methane production in cows through forage modification. These assignments frequently come with tight deadlines, sometimes as urgent as overnight or on a Friday evening. Now imagine the strain such demands can place on my family time and personal life. As a former researcher myself, I understand this is very well. This is where Scopus AI has been a game changer for us. By learning this advanced tool, my wife has significantly reduced the time spent on exhaustive aspects of research management. With Scopus AI, she can quickly access comprehensive, trustable, and up-to-date data, analyze trends, and gather insights more efficiently than ever before. This tool has not just streamlined her research process, but also give us back those precious moments for family activities, strengthening our work-life balance. So, Scopus AI derives its strength from our primary pillars. The first one is trust. Trusted content. As you know, the sources on Scopus have been selected by subject matter experts on the Scopus indexing process, minimizing hallucinations because we create strict prompts, ensuring the information that comes from curated sources with clear references. Transparency. This is not a black box. Scopus AI show it's working so you can decipher how it reached their answers. And limiting biases. If a query is biased, there is a risk of bias in the response. We have taken steps to minimize this risk in the queries. The second pillar is the community. The community verification in the two ways that we verify the information. The first is that the journals, the indexed journals, have a verified process on the peer review. And the second one is on the Scopus indexing process. And community collaboration also is an iterative tool. We have been continually having feedback with the community, and we make some previous tests in the beta phases, just knowing and understanding what are the needs of the community. The third pillar is enhanced and accelerated outcomes. Accelerated access to knowledge. We summarizes the abstracts of the queries that we made. So we provide the most pertinent information or answers related to your query. And we also enhance outcomes across the research life cycle. Our AI synthesizes thousands of papers, abstracts, and linked connections, delivering richer insights to inform your most important decisions. The last pillar is a full spectrum understanding. Exploring the frontiers of the research, we create a graph, expanded summaries that lead you to the frontiers of a discipline. This is really a really nice feature that we're going to see right now. Bridge the knowledge gap, because we're going to have summaries of essential information that are going to give us the knowledge and confidence to collaborate across disciplines. And see the full ecosystem.
If you want, Carlos, I'm happy to demo.
Okay, let's go, Adrian, please.
Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm Adrian. I'm the product manager for Scopus AI.
Let me stop sharing.
Let's see, I can share my screen. Hopefully you can all see this. So, as Carlos mentioned, one of the primary things we're doing at Scopus AI, the main problem we're trying to solve is making it really easy to learn about new research areas and find opportunities. And some people have seen this demo already, but it works pretty much similar to what a lot of things you've seen today. We have a large language model, which is ChatGPT, which we combine with a proprietary vector-based database that helps understand user queries and is able to find relevant academic documents that we pass to our large language model. And the goal here really is to help get a really fast snapshot of any given research area you might be interested in and try and work out what the applications might be for you. And we do this in a few ways. One is a comprehensive mini summary, which you've seen examples of already today, and kind of like what you've seen already, for any claims or assumptions, we can see exactly which academic abstracts we base this on. But we go a little bit further than this as well. Exploring a new area can be quite challenging. And Jason, I'm going to steal your query. Ways environmental concerns are affecting the bottled water industry. Jason and I are friends, so it's okay. And we got a little different perspective from Jason's query here. So we take an academic perspective on this. So again, environmental impact, sustainability challenges, consumer waste. Really nice to get this sort of academic, but one thing we do is we have, as Carlos mentioned, a reflection layer in Scopus AI, which is the problem with LLMs is they're really convincing, not necessarily truthful. And what we're doing to combat that is three kinds of responses. One is a direct response when we're confident in the information we have. One is an inferred response where we think there's relevant information, but we have to infer some stuff, and we're really clear about that. And a third one where we just give no response whatsoever. So for example, like this, we can talk about and infer some things, but we can't directly answer this query. And this is really important and really challenging to achieve for prompt engineering. Additionally, we've also leveraged other generative AI tools like a concept map to give you a high-level overview of the main concepts and ideas in this area based on the academic literature. An expanded summary, which can take your original query and tries to anticipate what your next questions are likely to be to generate something a bit more comprehensive. So for example, here we started what's impacting environmental stuff, but it's also talking about consumer behavior and packaging distribution practices. So it goes a bit broader. Identify some topic experts who we think have written a few things in this area. In this case, we couldn't find one that covered all this criteria. And foundation papers. This is really important for us because we talk about standing on the shoulders of giants, but who are those giants? So what we do is we leverage our graph, as Carlos mentioned, to look at which papers the references we've used to write the summary are most commonly citing. In this case, we can really quickly see what are the most influential papers that have influenced the papers we've used to write this summary. So we give a nice mixture of both recent research and the established research that's really been influential. And this can work for all kinds of things from, if I wanted to find, well, one thing I really love doing is kind of blending. I'm not sure how I'm doing for time, but let's try something like applications of machine learning in art history. This is another thing I'm really personally interested in, is how do you bridge gaps between disciplines? And something like this, very quickly we can get an overview of how two ideas could be blended together, which is really nice. And you can continue exploring that journey for our Go Deeper links. So that's a quick overview of Scopus AI. Probably good because something's gone wrong there. But hopefully that's all right for time. But as I mentioned, the goal here really is a discovery tool, help you to get up to speed with a new research area, find opportunities, learn the vocabulary, and kind of build your instincts around how to talk about a subject you may not be already comfortable with. And if you're interested, maybe also see maybe the latest ideas in a given area.
All right, thank you so much. I'm sure our audience has lots of questions. Judith is going to handle that, and I will step back.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of go back because clearly we were kind of holding a few questions. And initially we were working with our panelists from JSTOR, and there was a question about asking if the account holder can incorporate content into any GIA tool we use, or are you creating an interface with a specific platform? And then will there be a cost? So hopefully that makes sense in your environment and are able to address that.
Yeah, so our generative AI tool is for use on JSTOR only. We are not, without additional agreements, we're not allowing use of JSTOR content in other systems. However, we can have the discussion around whether or not an agreement is in order. That's one question. Then there was a question about potential cost.
Yeah, will there be an up cost?
Yep. So for JSTOR, we're still very much in a discovery mode, identifying the very best capabilities that meet our users' needs. And so at the moment, our limited beta, there's no charge. We are also investigating potential models that would be cover the cost. As somebody else already mentioned, it's a very expensive system to operate, and so we will be looking for sustainable ways to cover the cost of this going forward. So more to come on that.
Well, I fully appreciate that, and yes, there's a lot of unknown knowns and known unknowns.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was another question, and somebody had asked, they weren't sure if you had asked, or had covered it, about what large language model that you were using to create your responses.
Yep. So we use, currently we're using a combination of OpenAI's API as well as some smaller language open source models. We're also actively investigating alternative options to OpenAI. So we're pretty open. It really got us up and running very quickly. It's working well for us currently, but we're looking at what options are out there that are going to potentially be more cost effective, maybe give higher quality responses. So we are open to evolving that plan.
Okay, and there is an additional question that seems to be directed at the two of your presentations, and it was asking about, and of course you may not know this, it says if a faculty member downloads JSTOR content and uploads it into a program such as Distiller SR or other platforms, would they be in violation of terms of use? Not maybe too specific, but question mark.
It's it falls into the same space. It's like for example, when we're using OpenAI's API, no training happens with that, right? We know their policy is that they use the content, then they discard it. They don't use that for anything. When you upload it through somebody's front end, there's no telling what they're going to do with it, right? And so we do also believe that individual use of the content would be contributing to that. So again, it is a gray space, and we can follow up with more detail. But I think in terms of general guidance, putting it into public systems does kind of give it all away.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate that. And then we had somebody asking a question about Scopus AI and leveraging just abstracts or full text of articles. And I see Adrian maybe responding to that.
Yeah, I was just about doing that. Really quickly, yes, we're only leveraging abstracts and some metadata like author supply keywords. People ask us why. And the short answer is we think it's a fantastic snapshot of the main ideas of a given piece of full text. And for our use case, which is discovery and exploring, it's ideal. So we're looking at full text, but right now abstracts we think serve this use case really, really well.
Wonderful. Thank you. And then Clarivate, there's a question for you as well. It was asking about, it seems like a two-parter, whether the tools will end up in EndNote and whether EndNote will be integrated into popular AI-powered writing tools like Jenny.
We are starting to look at something like EndNote and integrating it there, but we are at very, very, very early stages still of that investigation. So it's good to know that there is interest. I'll pass it on to my colleagues. And yeah, integration with other tools, that's still even farther away in the queue. But again, I will let my colleagues know that there is interest in that.
Wonderful. And that was the questions that I had here. I don't know if anybody else has additional questions. You can certainly ask them in the Q&A section. I'll wait a moment and see if there's any more questions. Let's see, it looks like there's another one that just came in. Actually, this is the same question. So did any of our panelists have any questions that they wanted to address or ask? Oh, another one just came in.
I think there was one of the very first questions that wasn't answered.
Okay.
I wasn't sure it was answered from Jennifer Butcher.
Yeah, actually that was.
It was, okay.
I appreciate that. One of them came in talking about vendors' thoughts on Adobe throwing AI summaries of questioning ability into Acrobat and Reader for PDFs, if that would affect your content or use of it. I'm not quite sure I completely understand the question, but maybe each of you understands it better.
So I can.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Christina.
No.
Okay,
we all
so
want to answer.
I can say something briefly and then I'll move on. But basically, there are different ways in which you can interrogate or use GenAI in these tools. So Beth was showing how you can interrogate the document directly from the document page. And that's similar to what Adobe is offering. Whereas the tools from Mintel, Scopus, and Clarivate, they summarize multiple documents at the same time. So I think depending on what you're using it for, yes, it might have an impact, but it needs to be seen what capabilities they really add to that tool.
Thank you, Christina. And I know Beth and Adrian, you each had a response. Beth,
it was me. So for our, I'd like to just echo what Beth said to one of the previous questions. Our terms and conditions preclude you from uploading our content to other AI systems at the moment. I mean, we will keep reviewing that. But as Beth said, there's so many tools you could get things uploaded to, and you just don't know whether then suddenly in 6 months or 12 months or 2 years, our proprietary content is going to form the knowledge of someone else's model. So our terms preclude that at the moment.
Doesn't mean they're not going to do it. But...
I know. It doesn't.
The other tidbit I was going to add is that when you're working with segments of text, like highlighting, I didn't get to demo that, but you can highlight a portion of the text as you could in Adobe and ask questions or get like use something less than the full text, and that feels a little bit safer, right? That's executing these operations on a portion. You can't have like it's not super meaningful in and of itself. You don't know where it came from. You couldn't do anything really with that kind of snippet. So it's an interesting aspect to think about in terms of like the wholeness of a document versus the bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Did you have more to add to that?
I was just going to say similarly, you know, the value is when you have in some respects is when you have the whole corpus of information. So an individual document on its own may not be that concerning, but still at the moment, I think most vendors and information providers are erring on the side of caution and precluding it in their terms. That's my understanding.
Okay, and then somebody had typed it in chat, and this was actually asking about what kind of user testing perhaps each of you is doing, and maybe we could do this in the order that we presented from maybe JSTOR first, and then kind of
Sure. So we have very extensive user testing happening, and we did so from day one, from that very early 6-week engagement, and can basically continually throughout. We have a user researcher who coordinates that for us, and so that that testing, qualitative testing, happens with all levels of students, researchers, faculty, librarians in a variety of roles that they play. So we have that covered quite extensively, and we also have we do a lot of studying of the data, the conversation data that's coming through as somebody is using the tool, asking questions, so that we can derive at scale some learnings around the kinds of tasks and questions somebody has of the content that they're using, so that we can then map that together with what we're learning qualitatively and have that data at scale. So it's very nice that we were able to start in this beta and have this building up along with us as we go.
Thank you so much, Beth. And then Christina from Clarivate.
Yeah, we have been also, I mean, I cannot stress how important the testing is in launching one of these tools. It's a lot of testing internally first to make sure that what we put in front of users is decent and is academic and it's not full of hallucinations. But then we have had collaboration with our user experience team, who have been great at recruiting users for testing in different ways and different levels of students, like others have done. So faculty, librarians, students, undergrad students, postgrad students. And we've had a mixture of moderated tests, so really one-on-one interviews of normally 1 hour in length, where we have discussed the tool in length with the user, and the user has given their thoughts, and moderated sessions as well, where we just gave them the access to the tool and told them to then give us feedback. So yeah, lots of feedback still coming in. We expect a lot more feedback still to distill before we decide to get out of these betas.
Thank you, Christina. And then Jason, what kind of
Yes. Yeah, so I agree with Christina. Testing is absolutely essential for correctness. And through our development phase, we did a huge amount of testing for quality and correctness to ensure it wasn't hallucinating and that it was representing the context correctly. Our testing is a mixture of automated testing. So we have a large set of questions and we use language models to assess their own work. And then we have some tools for our internal research experts to evaluate versions of our system as we continue to develop and improve it. But that's really focused on quality and correctness. In terms of capabilities, future developments in the evolution of our systems, we are implementing feedback mechanisms right now so that we can continually measure quality and ensure that it keeps going up and up. And so that we can review questions that get poor answers and then understand what we need to do to improve the system. So lots and lots of continuous testing for quality and correctness, and then ongoing monitoring of our users and feedback from our users to improve it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jason, for that answer. And then I know, Regina, would you like to share, provide what you're doing for testing with Scopus? Are we still?
I'm going to leave that to Adrian to answer, but thank you.
Okay.
No worries. Very briefly, I mean, yes, we've also conducted extensive testing. We've been debating this since last October with a percentage of Scopus users. It's been great getting a lot of qualitative feedback, quantitative feedback. Users can leave feedback on the tool itself. Elsevier, also, we're very fortunate that we have a lot of domain experts in-house, so we get to sample and test a lot of our queries periodically. And similar to what Jason mentioned, we've also probably spent as much time investing in automated testing of the system as much as with user testing, building the Scopus AI product itself. And similarly, for any new version that comes out, we check for quality, coherency, groundedness with the content, but also for making sure that we're not exacerbating unfair bias, not producing harmful responses. And a lot of work goes into that to make sure that our prompting and how we are generating our text is actually in line with user expectations and, yeah, is safe and trustworthy.
Thank you so much. Of course, there was another individual who was asking which large language models each company is using. So perhaps we'll go reverse order because we have you on the line. Adrian, is that something you guys are willing to share?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I may mention it. We're using OpenAI's ChatGPT model, and we also use open source MiniLM model for our vector database.
Okay. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, so we're using GPT-4 Turbo to power our system because of the quality of the answers it can give. And then we're using the OpenAI embedding tools. But our challenge is a bit different to Adrian's because we've got a much smaller corpus of information to process. And it's probably different to most companies. So it's a bit easier for us.
Okay. And then Christina? Which large language?
We're using a combination of OpenAI and AI21 large language models with proprietary vector databases.
Wonderful. And Beth, what are you guys using?
Oh, yeah, we already answered that one. We're using OpenAI and the smaller mini language model, the same as what Adrian described, essentially, and also evaluating alternatives.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. There was a thank you to Mentel for helping students learn to refine their prompts with other questions they might not have thought to ask related to their initial request that might not have been crafted as well as it ought to be. So that was more of a comment. There is another question asking about, will AI replace keyword Boolean options in the interfaces completely? Like, is that something we foresee? And then there's a secondary comment here about evidence synthesis as a fast-growing methodology that demands reproducible, transparent searching that isn't compatible with AI systems right now. So seems kind of like a large thing to take on. But perhaps we can start with you, Beth, and then kind of work the other way around.
So the question about traditional keyword search Boolean, building complex Boolean queries versus the more semantic search. I don't think it will. I don't think one replaces the other. I think that each method is very good at doing particular tasks. And so if you really are looking for something specific, you want certain terms in proximity to each other, like the need for that kind of searching doesn't go away. If you're looking for an exact phrase, you have to have keyword searching for that. However, it's not very good at concept matching. And so the work that we're doing right now is really to figure out the best way to blend those, to use understand which method is most relevant for what the user is doing at the moment, and be able really to combine those and make that combination invisible to the user.
Gotcha. How about you, Christina?
Pretty much the same. Beth just
You going away?
not
I
going
wonder if it's
away anytime
myself, like,
soon.
you know.
I mean, maybe in 50 years, but many of us won't be there to see it. But but no, not anytime soon. No, it's a completely different use case. Yeah, and we need to support both.
How about you, Jason? Any chance that our Boolean is going to the bye-bye?
So our Boolean search isn't that powerful at the moment. And so we would anticipate that almost all of our users, when they have the ability, will typically tend to move over to the semantic search, the vector search. And just to answer the next question, vector searching is looking at the meaning of the text you put in and the meaning of the text, and you produce these vectors that represent the meaning, and then you match for the most similar vectors. And so if you think of it like a graph, you find the points on the graph that are closest to each other. Anyway, maybe that helped. But so there are definitely going to be times when you'll need to search for keywords, and so we don't see it going away. But I would guess that when everyone has access, it will be 90+% using a semantic search. And as Beth and Christina said, there are techniques that we can all use to make that much more flexible and to hide from the user the need to figure out which one they want to do.
Gotcha. So maybe.
Let me take that from the Elsevier side. I think that there are going to be complementary searches, the semantics and the Boolean queries, because the Boolean queries is really specific to find some spaces in the knowledge map or environment, let's say. But with the semantic searches, for example, as we have this concept mapped, you can discover new language, new words that you can use as keywords to improve your Boolean queries. So I think that for specific things, like a search for a specific gap on the knowledge, the Boolean queries are still the way to do it. And we're going to have an amazing help from the semantic searches.
Interesting. So from what I'm seeing, it looks like the questions have been completed, but in terms of other things, I saw that there was something in the chat from Tim about slide presentations. Slides are linked in there. And then I wanted to sincerely thank each of you for joining us and being very forthcoming and willing to share. Us as librarians are constantly kind of wondering what this space is going to look like and how to navigate in the new world. I think we all are enjoying the journey, but it sounds like hopefully we will be able to learn from each other. Are there other things that we needed to provide? I'm kind of turning back to Peter to see, if you wanted to wrap up with any other additional information for our guests.
I think that covers the basics. Maybe one other question might be the generative AI technology evolves every day. New features. I would imagine that even the people in Gemini, OpenAI, Copilot, they're all discovering new ways of using their technology, especially when they interact with their clients. So how do you see, well, I wouldn't say see, but how do you prepare for this level of unknown but expected changes?
Sounds like this is our final big question.
And maybe we'll just go around the room. Beth, do you have any thoughts on that? Not really expecting.
Yeah, there's not a concrete answer to this, but we do at Ithaca, we have a team that is working on this. So we are a group of myself in product, design, research, data science, engineers, software engineers, testers. So we have this team who is predominantly focused on this work, where our job is search in general. And so this is the space that we're working in. We have dedication to this. So our resources are put towards this as we continue through the very exploratory phase. And we see it as a learning opportunity. We don't know, none of us know.
Right.
Hopefully nobody will have a clear answer. But I think none of us know what it will look like to have this kind of capability and support it a year from now. Things are changing, like you said, so rapidly that we don't know what it's going to look like. And so in the moment, we are a subset of us are very attuned to everything that's going on. We have a lot of sharing internally and just a lot of staying up to date and reaction. So it's, flexibility.
Almost sounds like maybe a time to market question where it's like, how often will we provide updates maybe? You know what I mean? Like, how can we constantly be updating? Because maybe daily is never going to happen. So,
yeah, we do releases daily, constantly. Yeah.
Oh, wow. See,
Oh.
how about you, Christina? Kind of what do you foresee?
Yeah, well, same. We have now a new team as well dedicated just to this. And it's a group of individuals like myself who are really enthusiastic about the topic and eager to learn more about it and open to what might come next, and always being prepared to be surprised and embrace the surprise.
Gotcha.
That's it. Yeah.
About you, Jason?
It's a really good question, and it's something that I think we're all very, very acutely aware of. Interestingly, on a technical level, the cost to switch from OpenAI to Google, or from Google to Anthropic, is actually relatively low. And so as models get better and better, one of the things I'm anticipating is that they'll get better and better at understanding what you're asking them to do, which means that the cost of switching is probably going to be quite low. So I think it's going to be a case of continually staying up to date and then having the flexibility, the agility, as Beth said, to be able to react when you need to. And I think that's one of the things that's going to help companies be successful in the future, is that ability to react and being prepared to react. So it's actually fantastic for companies like us using AI, because there's this massive arms race from all these big technology companies where they're all trying to do things cheaper and quicker and better quality. And we should be in a position, hopefully, to take advantage of that. So for consumers of this technology, this is really good news, I think. I hope. That's my optimistic view on it anyway.
Well, we have just about a minute left. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Adrian?
I mean, very quickly, agreed. The future is being written. I think we offer the principle that there's some really big problems in academia that we're trying to solve, and it's about trying to really stay informed and trying to understand how best these new emerging technologies can be used to help solve those kind of problems and make the lives of researchers and academics more easy. And I think, as Jason already mentioned, we can anticipate they'll just get better reasoning, faster, larger context windows, better retrieval. I think those things are quite predictable, but it won't be clear exactly how we leverage those things to solve those problems. But it's really exciting to be part of that, and building products at this time when you can be part of that story.
I just want to add to Adrian's answer that in Elsevier we are a huge enterprise, and there's people in product like Adrian that is developing these amazing technologies, but also you have a customer success department that wants to dialogue with you librarians, with the researchers, with the academics, and start growing and thinking the new ways that we can advance in the fair use of these kind of technologies, and search for new ideas and transfer that ideas all over the world. So people like in my team or Regina, we are really happy to help you in every way you need to advance on these new challenges that could be, I know, really hard for somebody.
Okay, well, with that, I think we have to conclude because we are exactly at time. So thank you so much for our panelists. And then also, Amy, did we need to let the individuals know how to get the recording after this?
Yeah, we can actually we'll send the recording out to all of those who have registered. So you can expect that, as well as links that have been shared as well.
Yes, thank you once again to all of our vendors, and thank you for being able to join us for this conversation today. Thank you.
Everyone.
Thanks all.